Good evening. My apologies for the slight delay, but welcome back. Bear with me while I get everybody else on. Hope you guys have been doing well since yesterday. Things have been going good down here. Going to probably jump in the pool once I get off of live with you guys, but we got some important things to talk about today. I told you guys outside of the general conversations, we're going to do our best to continuously give you actionable items. Actionable items are going to be important because outside of just conversations that are designed to wake you up, or what do you do when you are awake? These things tonight we're going to get into. You might want to write them down. I told you guys yesterday and the day before what writing something down does regarding intention and the things that people are looking to manifest. These things are important. The move abroad is a very intentional move abroad. So, making certain that you are aware of exactly what you are doing is important. So tonight we're going to get into the 6 steps that you need to move abroad. And these are going to be location agnostic places. So for the people that don't know what agnostic means, it means in regards to location especially, no matter where you go, whether it is Colombia or Panama, South Africa, Mexico, Thailand, Dubai, doesn't matter. You guys will be able to use these 6 steps because they are designed to take you from where you are right now and to give you, excuse me, an opportunity to, sorry, that thing was glitching behind me. Bear with me. There we go. Um, to take these actionable items and utilize them to start your next best life. So, without further ado, we will get into the first one. And the first one is the first step of your journey. And so many of you guys do not realize that you are already in the first step. The first step to move abroad is the ideation stage. What does that mean? Well, in order to think it, you must believe it. So you have to have an idea, the idea to move abroad, the thought process of it. There's an entire thought process that goes into the ideation stage that we're going to spend a little bit of time with. So when you talk about being in the ideation stage of where you are, the idea of moving abroad, you started to realize that you no longer may want to subscribe to what America has for you. Great, good. But what do you do with this idea? So many of you are not in a position because I hear, well, just do the research. Well, the research is a very loaded scenario because if you go on Google, you can go to Google's homepage, and as much stuff as you know, once you put into Google search bar, will come up. Google's homepage is blank. So if you don't know what the research is, then obviously conversations like this, other more focused and pointed conversations are going to be ideal for you in the ideation stage because Google as well as Chat GPT, any AI is a search bar or a prompt bar waiting for your input. So we've got to back up in the ideation stage to give you guys some tools that you can utilize to start developing what the thought process is to start moving abroad. What do you actually put into the search bar? What are you looking for? These things are going to be really important. But before we get into that, you've heard this before. If you saw me yesterday, I said this. Talk about writing things down. Understanding your whys is such an important part of the ideation stage. Your whys. Why you are looking to leave the United States. Do you know? Do you just have it up here? How can you reference that as it grows? Or maybe it changes a little bit. I tell you guys to write it down because the thought process from you thinking in your head to you turning your pen to write this on a piece of paper that you can utilize over and over again, add, subtract, do things to this document in a way where, excuse me, it benefits you. So knowing your whys in the ideation stage are going to be important, but also knowing your what you are looking for is are going to be a whole nother list that you need to take about, and really grab it by the horns. I say that is because you need to know what you're looking to give up. But when you're looking as far as where to go, what you're looking for and a list of it is going to help you narrow down where you're going to end up. Because if you're looking for a place that has these 10 things and you're look on a top expat destination list, and 8 of those things, the place that is on there, they don't have, why would you go further than that? Now, you're not going to find a 10 out of 10 normally. Depends on what your things that you're looking for are. But you should have, I would say, a little bit better than average of what it is that you are looking for in the place that you choose as your next destination. These things are important. The intention of knowing what you are leaving and what you are looking for helps you kind of gauge, where am I going? Because so many people contact me and say, I've never left America, and I've seen Thailand is cheap, and um, people are getting houses and villas for $300-400 a month, and everything is cheap. Food is $1 or $2, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Do you know what time it is in Thailand right now? Right now in Central Time, it is 5:10 p.m. So in Thailand, it is 5:10 a.m. on Friday. So when you talk about what your needs are and you consider, making money, being able to get home quickly, if that is something that is important to you, those things get considered a completely different way when putting Thailand on the list versus some of the other countries like Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica. These are all things that you have to factor in. Now, I'm not going to give you the answers. These are all just questions for you, but this ideation stage, it starts right there. What am I looking to leave from America, and what am I looking for in the next place that I go? You got to list these pros and cons. You got to list these things because so many of you are ready to leave America that you haven't even thought that far. And then when you do say, okay, well, I did think that far, you say, well, I love the beach. You love the beach on vacation. Have you ever lived at the beach? Do you know what beach lifestyle is like on a Tuesday versus Thursday to Monday when you were able to go on vacation? These things also come into it, which is the realization that you need to be real with yourself. So many people like, oh, I love St. Bart's and I want to go live there. You want to go live in St. Bart's because you went on vacation. These things are things that I get, and I know that you are probably thinking the same thing until somebody says, hey, you might want to do a little bit more research or dive in a little bit deeper to this idea that you have of where you want to go. Being intentional about what you're giving up and what you're looking for, these things will help you. It won't guarantee you anything, but you're talking about a probability, and you're looking to increase the probability of you having success. Now, some of the other things you can do is, as I mentioned, what you're doing now. I'm a person that has been living abroad for the last 3 years full time. I'm also a person that has been traveling extensively and attentively to places that at one time weren't on everyone's radar. Colombia was not on everyone's radar when I first started coming. However, I was able to be a welcoming ambassador from America to say, hey, this is Colombia and this is what it has to offer to you. So I do have experience not only being here, traveling often, but also living here and seeing what that is like. Now, I'm not the end all be all of resources, which is why if you go to Black Expat Life in Colombia, go on YouTube, you'll see us have 1,000 conversations with people that live in Qatar, Panama, people that have kids. I don't have children, but I know you guys might. These things are all going to be important as you go into your journey on how do I narrow down where I want to go. What is actually expat life like abroad in Colombia, Mexico, Panama, any of these places. Because heads up, guys, they are all different. Cartagena uh, expat community is different than Medellin, which is different than Panama City, which may be different than the beach side, which all of these are going to be individualized to the community of people that are around you. So you can't take somebody's experience unless you're going to where they're saying that this is like this and expect that just because you're in Colombia, that what I told you in Medellin that is always abundant exists just 1 hour flight away. These are real things that you have to consider. Now you can all go into YouTube and type in, expat in Colombia and see what comes up. You can go into Facebook and jump into these Facebook groups. So many people that tell me they're looking to move abroad, and I'm like, "Are you on Facebook?" They're like, "No," and I'm like, I am not a Facebook endorser. I'm not endorsing them. They do not pay me for endorsing them. But what I will tell you is, as a person that is looking to move abroad and that is in the ideation stage, these are all free resources that you can do. And what I will tell you with Facebook, they have so many groups, and the groups are anything that you could think of and anywhere that you can think of. Somebody already went and lives there. So what you can do, and I tell the people that come to me, is go be a fly on the wall. Go be a fly on the wall in a Facebook group. If you're interested in moving to that location, go be a fly on the wall. Join a bunch of them. See what it is that they are talking about, the things that are going on. Oh, this is going on tonight. Because if you think that you are going to have a high probability of success moving to somewhere where at this time no other expats, no other community exists besides right where you are, not speaking the language, not understanding the culture, and have a good time. I told so many people that are looking to move abroad, there are starter expat cities, and then there are, I would say, the advanced expat city. I'll give you a Colombian example. Medellin and Cartagena, starter. Starter. And I don't mean that by like it's super easy. I'm just saying the straight flights from the United States. You can get back real easy. New York, Florida, I think sometimes in Houston, maybe even Chicago, so you can get straight to and from Medellin, Cartagena, and some days in Atlanta. These are things that aren't easy in other places, depending on where you go. Whereas, as you get into Colombian culture, you start learning the language, you start learning the different regions and the foods that you might like from the different regions. You might get into places like Cali and go to move to like Santa Marta or Bucaramanga or Barranquilla. Those aren't usually first stops for people's first time coming abroad. But as you get more comfortable within Colombia, well, I'm Colombian, but the country, the culture, everything that is daily life, you might get into these secondary countries. So all of this is just the first step. It's just still you thinking about it. And this is such an important step because the moment we get outside of this step, you need to actually start doing some things. You got to get off the couch. Yeah, you got to go and maybe spend some more time looking at going to some of these places. So many people when I first started this didn't know what a relocation tour was. And a relocation tour is designed for you to take your tourist glasses off and to put your Tuesday glasses on. And what I mean by that is most of these places, when you're on your radar, you said, "Oh yeah, I went there and it was a great time." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine, but you were there as a vacationer, as a tourist, versus I'm going to be living here Monday through Sunday. What does life look like here for me?" So this is why the ideation stage is important, because before you go spending any money, buying tickets and thinking that you need a visa before you go, you need to revel and live a little bit in the ideation stage of narrowing down the places that are really going to benefit you to unroot your entire life. That is why we want to harp a little bit on this ideation stage because you're there right now. But the next steps are about what you are willing to do to give up what you are saying that you no longer desire, that no longer serves you. What are you willing to do? This is very important to make certain that you take by each of these steps and take heed to them. Let's get into the second stage. The second stage, kind of hinted on it, is the exploration stage. So you wrote everything down from the ideation stage. You know what you're leaving in America. You know what you're looking for. You went and went into these Facebook groups, and you decided, oh well, I don't really like the vibes that I'm seeing, or it doesn't really seem like there's a lot going on. Good, good. Maybe your list went from 10 to 5, or 5 to 3, or 2, whatever it is. Let it work for you. But the exploration stage is important. You need to inspect what you expect. Let's back up. Inspect what you expect. Do you understand what that means? So you have expectations that everything you said, everything I said, that everything that you saw on the internet, and everything you saw on Facebook, from the comforts of your own home, all of it was true. All of it is accurate. You're ready to go take everything that you didn't expect with your own 2 eyes, with your own 2 feet walking on the ground. You are ready to go uproot your entire life. Maybe you're coming with your family. Maybe you're shifting careers and looking to go into remote work. These things are important. So before you go selling anything, take heed to the exploration stage. Now, the exploration stage, you still have a little bit of flexibility with that because we provide it. Not everybody does. For exploration stage is, I would say it's a two-part scenario. The first part of that is the virtual scenario. Obviously, these conversations are giving you the 6 steps, and the other conversations are designed to wake you up. But our virtual relocation conferences are designed to bring you directly connected with experts in their industry, relocation professionals, whether it's Colombia, different places in Colombia, whether it's different countries that you guys are interested in, and connect you with vetted resources that can actually meet you on the ground. Once again, another layer of let me help give you a barrier and make certain that you know what you're doing from the comforts of your own home. That way, this exploration stage, yeah, we're going to get a little bit deeper. Yeah, you're going to spend a couple of hours with us to hear from these people, to learn more detailed information that is not just a conversation based. No, we follow a script that is designed to uncover what you don't know. Now, we lead you into the virtual conference because we still know and understand you guys are going through a lot and you might need just a little bit more reassurance. But the exploration stage in this virtual conference is designed to bring you into a forum that you can go ask questions and get real answers from people that help hundreds of expats that already live in these destinations already do it. Because the second part of the exploration stage, once you go into virtual conferences, once you are comparing the different cities, because like I said, Medellin is not Cartagena, is not Santa Marta, is not Bucaramanga, is not Cali, it's not Barranquilla. They're all different. They all offer different energies, different foods, different even accents to Spanish. Which one are you going to go to? That's a question for you. It's not something that you need to answer, but the exploration stage helps you hopefully narrow that down by bringing you in front of people that actually live there and actually do the relocation expert thing. But it gives you the opportunity to say, okay, look at all this research I did in the ideation stage. I sat for a couple of hours and learned a lot of information about these places that were already on my radar. And now I know that I have vetted and trusted resources on the ground to meet me at the airport when I arrive. So I'm not even walking into an unknown scenario. Because once you get to these relocation tours, I tell people the importance of some basic things, things that you know, but you forget. And the reason you forget is because you are so inundated with everything that's going on in the United States. How do you keep your head above water? How do you keep the news off but still staying on point with what the heck may be coming down the street? I get it. So you forget things when you go to move or move abroad. Like, I'm 6'3". I need a king size bed. But in Colombia and other many Latin countries, a king size bed is not easy to come by. That is important for me. Other things that we take for granted in the United States: central air, washer and dryer, dishwasher. All of these things don't come standard outside of the United States. You can get them, but these things are important because, yes, you might want to move and narrow it down. Like, I want to move to Medellin. Great. Do you know what neighborhood that you want to move in? Damn it. You're gonna throw in a whole yes, I'm gonna throw another layer into this move abroad situation, because once you narrow down, you guys are not Nas and Belly. You aren't moving to Africa. You're not moving to Colombia. Where are you moving? I'm moving to Thailand. Really? What city? And once you get to that city, what neighborhood? But how are you going to know that from where you are? And honestly, what each neighborhood gives and provides. So in Medellin, we've got neighborhoods: Lorella, Sabaneta, Envigado, Poblado. There are so many different neighborhoods, Berlin. And those neighborhoods could be from flat to on a hill. They could be from having 24-hour security, a gym, a pool, a sauna, beautiful views, to having you're on the fifth floor and there's no elevator, no security. Not saying that it's unsafe. It's just, what is your value? And then if you don't go to these actual places and these destinations that you've narrowed down to, go into these localized neighborhoods and see the different neighborhoods. Turn apartment doorknobs and actually see what the inside of these apartments look like, because you would be surprised. We're so used to the way things are rented. People are asking me about credit scores and all of this stuff. Your credit score exists in the snow globe of the United States and mostly nowhere else. So nobody really cares about your credit. And when you rent a place overseas, a lot of times it is furnished. There are unfurnished options available, but you'd be surprised what you can get for $500 furnished, $800 furnished, and you've got beautiful water views. You'd be surprised what I have on the place I just moved into. It's got its penthouse, got its own pool. It's walking distance to everything, and I pay less than what people are paying to live in the inner city of Philadelphia, all included, just one price. How do you know? So the exploration stage is so important. Like, each stage is really important. That's why I say you got to take each one of them as you get them, because they're so important to follow. You need to go inspect what you expect. You need to go be wild a little bit. When people come to Medellin and it's their first time ever, and they've been on the YouTubes and they've done all the stuff, and they come out of that tunnel from the airport and they say, well, I didn't see this on the internet. Yeah, I say, make sure you look when you come out of the tunnel. And they say it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I tell them, things are, Chat GPT and AI only has what is already written down. There's so many things that are going on and popping up that aren't widely available on the internet. So you can Chat GPT some things, but some things aren't on the internet. Some things can't be encapsulated into something like a web page, or you've got to feel some of these things. So when you get here and you explore these different places, you're going to feel something that I can't tell you, but I know what it feels like. The exploration stage is really important, really important. So running into the virtual conference gives you your last step before you say, okay, I'm ready to book a ticket to somewhere. The relocation tours gives you the real life behind what you're saying that you want to live, connects you to the communities of people that are already living there. These are important things, which you don't realize, because America has devalued relationships so much that relationships are your biggest tool for success. Anybody that is jumped on in my DMs that has gotten on the phone and they went from my DMs to my phone, know that I have looked out for them. Even if I wasn't there, they were in good hands with people that I trust. They get put into the groups and get connected directly to things that people will be in Medellin for months and won't even figure out. We put these things in place because we know the difficulty of where you are and the difficulty of getting to where we are. So we try to lessen the amount of time it takes for you to get that done. Now, once you get through the exploration stage, hopefully you've decided that I know where I want to live. Great. You've been able to narrow it down. We're from 10 to 5 to 3 to one place, or maybe even two places. If you know how your passport works, you could live 6 months one place, 6 months another place. It's a whole nother conversation. We're not going to get into how your passport works. We're going to stay on these 6 topics. But once you decide that you want to leave and where you're going, you get into the third one, which is the planning stage. The planning stage. It's all important because you have to plan to leave. And you might be like, man, I could just go. You've got a lot of anchors that are keeping you in America, whether you acknowledge it or not. A lot of them. What do you mean anchors? I mean, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but you've got family, you've got friends, you have a car note, you have a lease that you just re-signed for your apartment, you have a house that you have. Do you see how many anchors that you have that you will have to snip away, that you will have to release? And it's the hardened part. And this part, this planning stage, is the most, I would say it's the most overwhelming. And you say, well, first month was kind of overwhelming. And I'm like, nah, nah, nah. When you have to go into understanding that you have spent whatever age that you are, that you've gotten to the planning stage. So at 30, 38, I mean 35, that was when I left. And I had to come to grips with myself. I realized that the United States had sold me on a dream that was focused on capitalism. How many things can I obtain? I had a nice car, Mercedes Benz E350. I used to buy $500 of clothes once or twice every month. Um, what else? A bunch of shoes, every different color shoe. Like this shoe go with this shirt. This shoes don't go with any other shirt besides this shirt. I can't wear this with these are these shoes for this shirt. That was the kind of person I am. So I'm not telling you as a person that didn't have anything and this wasn't difficult for me. But this part was really difficult because I had to go plan what I was going to give up. I tell you so many things from a realistic perspective, even my car, getting rid of that was difficult. I tried to hold on to it as much as possible. And be honest with you, I ended up losing more trying to hold on to some of the anchors that I just wasn't ready to give up. Then it would have been easier for me to just let them go. So I tell you this, it's so important. You guys don't understand when you have to sit down and with all of the things that you own and get your life down to 3 check bags and one carry-on and a book bag, you're going to have a hard time. If you don't think so, think about this. Everyone has said it. The last time you moved and you had to pack your place up, just move. Just move from one apartment unit to the next. Move from one house or neighborhood to the next, city to the city, another state to a different state. Same scenario. You had to pack up all your stuff in your house and clean it as if you were never there. And you said this to yourself. I wasn't there, but I know you said it. You said, when did I get all of this stuff? And when you're faced with the facts that you have to go and put your pictures or figure out what pictures that you want. I'm a physical person. I come from a physical age. I had a record player and vinyls and I had books. I do not like reading books on a tablet. So I had a library of books that I had amassed over the amount of time. Never mind my shoes and gadgets and 1,000 different things, GoPros, drones, the GoPro head, like I had everything. And I had to come to a situation of I can't take all of this with me. What do I take? But then I started reminiscing as I was going through the things, and I said, wait, hold on. But I remember I worked so hard to save up for this. And you're going to go through this too. When you come back into a scenario where you're looking at all the time and money that you spent accumulating this stuff that no longer has the value that you put on it, that the world told you was going to give you the happiness that you were looking for. So this portion right here is really one of the most overwhelming portions, the planning stage to cut your ties. Now, one thing that I tell people when you do go plan, I say still live there for a little bit. You got a lot of flexibility with your passport. Your passport gets you up to 180 days in a calendar year in a lot of places without much paperwork. Versus when you get into visas, they're going to start asking for FBI background checks, fingerprints, proof of work, bank statements. These things are all important to know when you're going about planning because not every country is the exact same visa process. Maybe digital nomad might be $1,000 in Colombia. It might be $500 somewhere else. It may be, you guys don't even understand because we are Americans, so they don't really teach us how to travel the world. But there are four different visa types. You got the tourist visa, the residency visa, the migrant visa, and the temporary residency visa. But those four different visa types go with multiple different subcategories, and those subcategories are all based off of what country you are going to, and the requirements all vary. So it may be easier to get one of these visas in a different country than it is. It may be harder in some other places. Some places have an easier path to residency for a long-term stay, and you say, "Well, 2 years is long-term," and it's like, not when you get out. It goes so fast. It goes so fast. So, considering all of these things is important to have on your radar. Yet, I caution you not to think that you need to go get anything besides the passport stamp because most of the places that expats are looking for do give you up to 90 days as a U.S. American citizen. I do not know anybody else's passport, what their qualifications are. I usually am talking to Americans. However, I am starting to run into people that are looking all over abroad with all over the world with the exact same issues. And they're like, I'm looking to move to Colombia or somewhere else. So I'm willing to help. I can only just speak on what it is that I know. So those things are going to be important when you're in this planning stage. One of the other things are going to be important. Um, Estimating your budget. You guys call me and like, well, what jobs can I get in Colombia? And I'm like, buddy. You can you get a job in Colombia? Sure. Can you get a job abroad? Abroad? Sure. However, one thing for certain, two things for sure. That is going to depend on one, what your profession is. Two, do you want to be paid as a local? My best recommendation across the board, no matter where you're going, make money online, remote work, and take it to where you're looking to go. That is my best recommendation. I am not a remote work expert. Do not help people find remote work jobs. However, I do have resources and people that I know that do that. I'm just not the person. I'm a travel agent. I do travel. I do this. I also do have a steady, normal remote job. So those things are what it is that I do. But make sure you either are retired and getting a certain amount of money or you know what your income is. Now, you may have heard success stories. I went out there with $2,000 and now I do this. Yes, but we're talking about probability again, right? What's the probability of you doing that? Can it happen? Yes. But can it happen? Is it going to happen to you? So make certain that you know. Don't come out here with a couple of dollars saved and think that you're going to just make it. How do you navigate the language barrier? Thanks for that, Chris. Language barrier depends on where you go. In Colombia, I will tell you that I started coming in 2018, 2017. So I already had a dip in the Spanish. People are always like, well, I took Spanish in college and high school. Like, yeah, throw that out. I say that throw that out is because Spanish is such a unique language, similar to English. Think about the difference of how somebody from America sounds, how somebody from United Kingdom sounds. United Kingdom and British kind of sound the same. Not United Kingdom, excuse me, Australia, similar, but you can kind of hear their Australian accent. Same thing. Dominican, Mexican, Puerto Rican Spanish, Colombian Spanish, all different cadences. Once you get down to the localized places, Paisa Spanish is different than Cartañero Spanish is different than Royo Spanish in Bogota. Like all of these things are different. What you need to do is find the basics. I will tell you that you're going to need to try yourself. And I say that is because bring your wall down. The language barrier is going to be there. But if you don't open your mouth and try, these things will never actually get a go ahead. Like you'll just be stuck. People always say, well, I'm on Duolingo and I've done it for 400 days straight. And I'm like, Duolingo is out there. Duolingo, you will never probably give me a sponsorship for this unless you're going to prove to me something different. But Duolingo is probably, at least with Spanish, I cannot speak for any other language, it's probably the worst thing ever because they start teaching you things that you aren't going to know. You're a grown person. You're not talking about your teacher or your high school. You're not trying to learn and talk to people about what color your belt is. Like these things, the biggest thing, there are some apps that do it, but immersion is going to be the biggest thing. Immersion is something that you think, oh, well, I guess I got to wait till I get to Colombia. Most of us live in America from looking at this, and you can have conversations with people because a lot of Spanish people have their own little pockets of neighborhoods and things of that nature. Well, if they speak Spanish there, go and try. Hola, buenos dias. And I'm like, ¿tú hablas bueno? Like, habla un poco. I speak a little. But, as you continue to build your vocabulary, it will never get better unless you actually jump into the water. You'll never learn how to swim, never getting into the water. So the language barrier is going to be there. Obviously, you've got your translation apps, you've got your apps and things of that nature. But if you're going somewhere Spanish, even Portuguese, go to Brazil. People are like, oh, I want to go to Brazil. They speak Portuguese. You know what Portuguese sounds like? It sounds like either Spanish people speaking French or French people speaking Spanish. But it sounds like both of them at the exact same time. They were about to say something in Spanish and then they just ended with something. You were like, I don't know where that came from. Or started with something and then the end sounded familiar. These are all things that no matter what language you go to or what place you go to, you're going to have to overcome. But what happens is once you get out of the United States and you realize that this world is so much bigger than the United States, you should start to become a different person. You should start to be hungry to learn this language because what you understand with the relationships and the culture is once you learn the language, you unlock a different part of the culture in the country that you will not have going there only speaking English, expecting everybody to speak English or cater you to not speaking their local language. You'd be surprised how many people will open up to you or give you the localized price. Yeah, it's not all black and white. There is a gringo tax. There is a gringo price. But if you know at least enough, I was in Colombia in Cartagena, and the lady tried to give me a massage. And she said, "Oh, 150,000 pesos. 150,000 pesos were like $40 for the massage. That might not be bad." But immediately I told her in Spanish, like, "No, I live in Medellin." Like, no, I'm not gonna pay that. Like, I'm Colombian. Like, not Colombian, but like I live in Colombia. She went from that to like $40 to like 8. So I gave her like 13 as a tip, but it was like those are completely different numbers. So the language barrier is only as big as you're going to make it. Yes, you're going to struggle on the way out, but if you continue on and you continue to have your drawbridge down and your mind open, eventually you will learn what it is that you need to learn. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. But that planning stage is really important. Getting your money right, making sure you know how much the currency exchange is, making sure you know the dollar exchange there. United States to Mexico is about 18. Panama is 1 to 1. They use U.S. dollars. Colombia is 4,000 to 1. I think South Africa is like around 17, 18 to 1. Places like Ghana are around 16 or 20 to 1, depending on the time of day and the date. So these things are important because that's going to one tell you how much far your money can go, and then two, you need to understand what your monthly expenses are. I'm sure they're high in the United States, but you should go about finding out what that looks like in the planning stage. That is really important. Finding out what kind of health care you might need. Yes, you do need international health care. The reason that's important is because you might still keep American healthcare. Great, but that's for America. When you get abroad, you have to understand that you might want to go to a doctor or a hospital. Now, these things are cheap, like especially compared to the United States. Like out of pocket is usually cheaper than what you pay for copay with insurance. You can get doctors to come to your house. But should something tragic happen and you would like to be flown back to the United States, that is a big expense. Now, MedVac is big, and $50, $60 a month can cover that if you had something bad happen. So, looking at these options, the planning stage, getting all your ducks in a row, this is extremely important. Now, one thing people don't realize is with the fourth stage, which is paperwork stage, we talked about kind of the visa scenario, and I kind of try to give you some navigation around that, not having to get into it. Depending on where you're going, international banking may be something that you need to look into as far as how do you pay your rent, if you have to pay utilities at your location, how do you go about doing that? These things are all going to be localized to destination specific things. So, looking at what banking options that you have, not to get charged on international fees or transactions. There's different credit cards that you can look at that, based off of where you're going, may not charge you on certain things. This is important. Talking about your finances, I don't need notes in your pocket. But healthcare and knowing how you're going to maneuver money from here in the United States to the different places you may need to do certain things with that money, important. One thing also for our furry friend lovers, bringing your pet is not just putting them on a plane and buying them a ticket. There may be certain restrictions, uh, shots they may need. When I first moved, my dog didn't come for like 7 months. Missed him, but he had to get all his shots. And Colombia is different than Mexico. Once he got imported into Colombia, if I took him out, then I would have to re-import him, go through the entire process all over again. These things are important to know because Mexico is not Colombia. Mexico, I'm come and go from what I was looking at the time. These things are important. One thing I will tell you is I beg you not to go through all of these steps, get to the paperwork stage, and then be like, I want to sell my house and go buy a house immediately once I move there. Don't do it. Do not do it. The reason why is maybe you came for a relocation tour if you followed what you call them, so you know what the neighborhoods are like. But you need to really live there for a little bit to really like I'm going to take a bunch of money because housing is probably one of the most expensive things. You can get way more bang for your buck. But credit also, I told you, the credit score doesn't exist. But credit and financing also doesn't exist in certain places. So if the house is $175,000, well, ma'am or sir, you need to have $175,000 in cash ready to move. Cash, not financing. Not I got an 800 credit score. Nobody cares. Keep that in America. So, knowing these things are all about the paperwork stage that you don't want to start doing too much paperwork because most people's thing is, well, I own a house in the United States, so I'm going to go own a house in Colombia or Mexico immediately. And it's like, you should figure out where you want to live. You should know what the real vibes are here before you go start spending all your money in one spot and not realizing that you don't know. And you're going to remember this conversation. So the paperwork stage, really important, especially once you start to go look into making long-term strides in wherever it is that you are looking. Number five. Number five is going to be also important because your logistics, your logistics, if you're going somewhere where we're not connected, we do our best, to get connected to everywhere that everybody's looking to go. So we'll always have those resources for the destinations that we have. But vetted resources are such an important logistical scenario because you did everything else. But what if you did everything in the place? So I was on the phone with a client the other day and I said, because I know what you guys see. I said, you've seen one place listed on 5 different websites for 5 different prices, right? He goes, yeah. How'd you know that? I mean, that's my job to know that. But the reason why is we're used to what goes on in America. In America, you sell your house, and there's, you know, you go to a realtor that is licensed. They took a test to become a realtor, and then they had to go get hired by a brokerage company that is an established brokerage company that you know, and they're bonded and insured and all this great fun stuff. Correct? Well, that doesn't happen in the out of the United States and everywhere. An MLS listing, you could see one house listed 30 different prices. This is a different ball game that you guys are getting into. It's a little scary, but it's okay when you have the right guidance and the right resources. So when you're talking about the logistics of you actually getting here, I see so many people getting, for even rentals, scammed. $500. Oh, well, you need to put a deposit on this place because I got somebody else looking at it. And you're so ready to leave and overwhelmed with everything that you're trying to get, you didn't realize that this site is a fake site. It looks real, but it's not real. How do you navigate that? My job is to continue to add more destinations so that you can pretty much go anywhere in the world and be connected somewhere. However, this is a process that not everybody is willing to take the time and do so. So getting these destinations on is definitely on my end. So I'll make sure I do that. But knowing what it is that you are getting into as far as with the resources, knowing that they're legitimate people, they run legitimate businesses registered with the Colombian government or the Mexican government. You want these things to be crisp because you're leaving a hot water scenario. The first thing you don't want to happen is to get scammed out of money. So the logistics of vetting and finding trusted resources is important. People are so easy to go to ChatGPT and the DIYers from YouTube, and they're like, I'm going to do my digital nomad visa myself. Well, unless you are already versed in that country's process that continuously changes, could change on a daily basis, why would you risk not getting into what you spent so much time narrowing down, visiting, going to see? Why would you risk any of that? But instead of working with a trusted professional. And once again, I'm not the professional. I'm not a lawyer. Our team of experts, we have all of this stuff. And this is designed so that you don't have to go figure that out. You don't need to become an immigration lawyer expert to move. You don't really have to become an expert of anything at this point with Move Travel's platform, to be honest with you. We've done our best to try to bring you all of the resources that you need right to you. But should you find yourself in a destination that I don't have yet, remember this conversation. Remember this. This is going to be important to your success. Do not be the first person. Oh, I just opened my business last week. That's why I don't have a website. Well, I do not need to go put my entire life into your hands. You need to go with somebody else. There's too many people that have already done this. And you have never done it. So don't let that be something that you think, they want $800 or they want $500. Listen, if you have to pay $500 to get away from what it is and make certain that it's done right, you would rather that than not doing it right and you stuck. Remember that. Super important. Last thing with the logistics stage that we talk about, sourcing local doctors. That's important because your doctor experience is not going to be the same abroad. It's just not. Like I said, my dog, when he was alive, rest in peace, Nino, when he was alive, like literally, the doctor, he wasn't feeling well. Doctor came to the house. The doctor was at the house. Mind you, it cost $35. The doctor was at the house with him for an hour. I came out. So I work in the other room. I came out. And they were in the living room, and she had a oil diffuser. She had like some jazz playing. She was giving him a massage. His eyes were closed. She had been in my house for 40 minutes. I'm like, what could she possibly be doing? Well, this is the secondary part of the veterinarian service, and just keeping them happy and well-being. Like I got my dog a IV drip when he needed one because he was dehydrated at the house. Like these things are important to be connected to. Your life is going to be different in some of the most beautiful ways possible. Your experience, when you compare it back to what you've grown up with in the United States, you're going to see things and say, why are they doing this to people that they say that they care about? That I don't have an answer for, but what I do have is making certain that you're doing your due diligence in the logistics stage. Now, the sixth and final stage is it's the lamb chop song. It's the song that never ends. It's a song that never ends. The sixth stage is the settling in stage. And no matter what age you are, 25, 38, 58, 60, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have probably lived majority of your life as an American in America. So in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 or 10, you are not going to be all the way fully settled. And not in a bad way, not unsettled. What I mean more so is great, glad that went up. What I mean more so is settled as far as getting to learn the culture, getting more comfortable with the culture, getting more ingrained with the culture, learning different things, the hidden gems of the country, the hidden gems of the cities, localized things, learning the language in a way that you never thought was possible. The settling in stage is such an important part. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable so that you can get comfortable. I'm gonna say that again. You need to get uncomfortable getting comfortable so that you can be comfortable. It's okay. The settling in stage is really important. Getting outside of the expat bubble is also really important. Yes, that is going to be a nice little base for you. But the relationships that you will gain in these places, they are going to be more important than the expat relationships because they're going to show you the real. I've gotten invited to people's houses. We've gone on Chivas, which are party buses with an entire Colombian family that invited us. And we were the only Americans. It was like four of us and like 50 family members. And it was the best time of my life. But if I don't get out and open myself and get settled into where I'm at, even if you go somewhere where they speak English, that's not American culture. Don't expect everything to go as fast as I tell people the slowest city in America is still faster than the places in Latam and other places as far as how fast things are supposed to be done and go. Bing, boom, bam. That's how everybody expects it. Relajado, relax, get comfortable. You left that fast paced life of, I've got to just be working all the time and everything is about how much money I have and how much money I can make and nobody's around family or friends or enjoying themselves. I loved it last year. I was talking to my lawyer like beginning of November. He was like, listen, bro, let me know what you need because by November 15th, I'm gonna be going until I think they come back until like the second Monday in January. He's like, I'm not talking to no clients. I'm hanging out with my family, my friends, my wife. We're going to do all this fun stuff. Please don't, like, you're not going to get a response. But I want you to know that. And he knows I'm American. So I'm like, I appreciate that. And that's even more of me getting settled into the culture, into the vibes of what is going on here. And I appreciated that because we in America, once it comes down holiday time, we come from environments where people start picking up extra shifts, start working a lot more so that they can get all of the stuff and the things that they need to put under the Christmas tree. Yet I see so many times in Colombia and other Latin American countries where people are spending their time around holidays with family and friends. They're coming out with festivals and or holiday moments where they're not designed around how much stuff did we buy each other. They're designed about how much family time did we have during this time? How many dinners did we have together? Not just one Christmas dinner, all 12 nights of Christmas or whatever like all of that. One of my favorite ones is when there's a candle lighting ceremony and you go out with your family and your friends, you got all different color candles and each candle and each color represents a different intention, prosperity, love, money, abundance. And you go out into the park and everybody's out there with their family, we're eating, you've got beers, and you light the candles and you sit there until the candles go out, talking amongst your friends and your family, intertwining with the other people in the community, all going about setting positive energy to go into the new year. These are things that the settling in stage does for you that can't be put into a bottle. ChatGPT doesn't really give you a good understanding of the goosebumps that I even have just talking about it. It's one of my favorite times. December is one of my favorite times in Medellin. But enjoying these things, the local art, going to a football game in Latam is one of the craziest experiences of my life. These things are so important to who you are going to be once you leave. So, do you guys understand why these 6 steps are not only positioned in the way that they are, designed to give you exactly some of the foundational things that you're going to need, no matter what destination you actually go to make this move? This move can be as easy or as hard as you set it up for yourself to be. That is on you. What we've done is try to take that difficulty out of all of this and put it in a way where you can digest it and easily be connected to the resources that are designed to help you go from where you are right now in America, on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet, watching this, to over here on the other side of TSA. I've seen so many countries in the last couple of months just because of the freedom that the living abroad allows me to. I'm not spending all my money on eggs and car insurance and rent and utilities and cable and internet. No, I pay one fair price that is comfortable for me, and I choose to spend the rest of my time on experiences. I pray that you guys get these experiences as well. I pray that you guys have found something in this tonight that has given you some opportunity to say, okay, I've got a blueprint. Now, if you didn't write it down, no problem. You guys go to moodtravelcolumbia.com, 2 O's in mood, 2 O's in Columbia, moodtravelcolumbia.com. Go there. There, you are going to see the 6 steps you need to move abroad. It is right up there. You'll see what it is that we walk through, but you can always come back here once this is finished. You can go to YouTube, Black Expat Life in Colombia. If you are not there already, you can see what we have said, so you can always reference this. Please go there, follow, like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Let me know what it is that you guys may have questions on, may want to see some information on. This is all important to helping you guys navigate the road out of America into whatever destination that your heart chooses. As always, I appreciate y'all. I promised you I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Try to stay at least within the hour. I'm about to go get in the pool. It's only 6 o'clock over here. It's a beautiful day. And yeah, we will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow's topic will cover. Ooh. This one is a tough one, but it is okay. We get into a little bit deeper from clutter to clarity. Why letting go of this stuff and things is the key to move out of the States, but is one of the hardest pills to swallow. I kind of jumped into it tonight. How you going to feel overwhelmed? But I want to make certain that you guys are getting some real life information, some real life convos, some things that are going to help you. I take a look at the news also as much as I can so that I can know what it is that you may be dealing with. I don't live in the United States anymore and haven't, but all my family and most of my friends do. So I still need to stay tapped in, stay relevant with the topics that we are discussing, but all of these should hit right at home. I appreciate you guys as always. Once again, if you guys aren't already, go to YouTube, Black Expat Life in Colombia. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what it is that you guys need more information on. If you guys are ready to start going into some of these things, start going on a virtual conference, start taking these steps and going on a relocation tour. Go to moodtravelcolumbia.com. 2 O's in mood, 2 O's in Columbia.com. MOOD travelcolumbia.com. We've got plenty of free resources. You'll get connected with our experts there, as well as all of the resources that you need to go into the exploration stage from an ideation stage that you're at right now. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good night.